Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Spill the Tea with Damen B and Gigi.
Hi, everyone.
Look at Grandma's hair and what she's
Okay.
wearing.
All right.
Is
And
she,
this is like a moo
yeah,
we're in Mexico, and it's so nice. It looks so good.
yeah.
And with a drink, just imagine with a drink,
Well,
okay?
yeah.
And sunglasses.
So hot mama realness. That was the category.
Right. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hot Gma, not
hot
mom.
hot Gma
Yeah.
walk, walked into the club with a snakeskin moo.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't even make it to a club there. I was I was so old. They all went, they all went at like 10 o'clock, and my sister-in-law and I were just like, no, I think we'll just go home. We're too old.
you you had the early dinner special
Yeah.
and then
Yes.
8 p.m. hit the
8
haystack.
PM, yeah, I
Yeah,
had a hot toddy and then hit the
yeah.
hit the bed.
Well, time
Yeah,
for bed.
yeah, yeah, so anyway.
Well,
Yeah.
anyways, we're gonna have a date with Destiny tonight because that's what
What?
we're talking about.
Oh my god,
Destiny.
Destiny.
It was Destiny.
Okay, and what's your experience with Destiny?
Well, I just know that my destiny is bright, and
That's
I that's all I know is
so do you consider Destiny as fate the same thing?
well, everyone says like, if it's meant to happen, it'll happen,
Mhm.
which I kind of don't believe, and I'm going to tell you why here.
Okay.
Um I feel like the amount of effort you put in, I feel like, okay, here's the thing. If you work really hard at something and you really want something, you might get it and you might not. But if
Mhm.
you do work hard and you do get it, something great will happen to you. It might not be that one thing. So
Right.
I guess the saying is true. It's like, well, if it happens, it'll happen. But I just mean like you can't sit at the on the couch. This is solely based on me trying to find a job out of school, right? It
Mhm.
was just like if you stay at home on the couch and you apply to 2 jobs a week, saying, you know, it's gonna happen if it's gonna happen, versus the person who's, doing 30 resumes a week going
Right.
around,
Right.
that's where I think destiny for me, I don't know. Yeah.
Right. There's a lot of people who think that your life is sort of mapped out already, that
Yeah.
you don't have control over it. Like your day you're born, the day you die, it doesn't
Mhm.
matter what you die of, you can't avoid it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if you're destined to be hit by a car, you will be hit by a car on that day. So there's a
Yeah.
lot like there's people that believe that, and then there's people who don't believe anything. That it's just all left to chance and fate. And I don't know, kind of, I think I stand more on your side. I do have a little bit of that though. A little bit of I think there's a
Yeah.
little more at work, but I think it works for those who are working towards it.
I
Um,
think so too. I
like
We're on the same page.
when where you look at them and their life and you
Mhm.
think, if you just sort of didn't wasn't hanging out with those type of people, or had like, your circle of friends were different,
Yeah.
because I really feel like people hold people back too. I think that's something you have to look at really hard,
Yeah.
if you're planning on doing something with your life. And sometimes those friends that you make in public school or high school, you can't be friends with them forever sometimes. They're not on the same path as you. So you kind of have to make a decision and turn off and make new friends that are encouraging and whatnot. So I think there's a lot that goes into destiny, a lot
I,
more than we think.
a lot of successful people say they hang out with successful people. Like, that's what motivates them. That's how they have all these opportunities. But also, I look at homeless people every day, like on my way to work or whatever. And it's just like, I can't believe that they were destined for that, or an African. baby who died of
No.
mosquito bites and malaria or whatever was
Mhm.
destined for that. I just think that's a crock of shit. It's like I feel like that's
Right. I
really bad
think,
luck.
honestly, that people's circumstances too. I mean,
Yeah.
we here in Canada are very lucky to be
Yes.
born here. I think that it does have a little bit of luck to it,
Yeah.
but it's not like, oh, the luck of the Irish, or the a little guy comes along and throws some fairy dust on you, and suddenly your destiny is gonna be perfect. I think our luck is more scientific in where you're located, where you're born.
Yeah.
First world country, second world country, third world. And then, how do you, if you are, I mean, imagine your destiny would be to find food every day if you're
Right.
in a third world country, or find food for your children every day. Like, that would
Also,
be
yeah.
your destiny.
And also, like, if I was still in the small town that I grew up in, I wouldn't be
Mhm.
here. Like, people are stuck in that town. They will never leave. And, that's
Yes.
fine for them. They
Mhm.
want to live that life, which is great for them. But maybe they're not destined for that. Maybe people
Right,
aren't destined to do big things, just live a small, independent lifestyle.
right, and there's for instance, somebody came up to me, not too long ago and said, my boyfriend and I, or spouse and I, we can't afford to buy a house where we live, where all our friends live. We can't afford it, and we both work really hard, um, but we don't have, parents didn't leave us anything,
Mhm.
whatever. We're just working, and it's like we can't afford it. And I just turned to them and said, or turned to her and said, "Have you ever heard of a pilgrim? Have you ever heard of someone getting up and moving because they want to own something or better
Mhm.
themselves?" And sometimes it takes a little bit of chutzpah get up and say, "You know what? We can't afford to buy here, but we can go here and have everything we want, and
Yeah.
jobs, and everything, and have to travel back and forth maybe to see family and friends." But you have to have that vision and that ability to say, "If this is what I want, I'm going to get it. I want to own my own home. I'm going to get it."
Yeah.
I think,
Like,
and that drives a lot of it.
I think this is from the Bible, actually. The saying, "You reap what you sow." So, like,
Yes.
you have to plant the seeds, and that's what you're kind of getting in return, I feel like.
Mm,
So, I set goals for myself, and I don't plan on achieving those goals. So one of my goals that I made starting university was, by the time I reach 30, I want to be making $100,000 a year.
right.
And so I have taken concrete steps to make sure I am headed in that direction, which I am. And,
Good.
it's great. So, but I have things that are trying to keep me accountable. I always look how to better myself, what I can improve on. If there's courses or certificates online that are like free, that helps me like update my knowledge on certain things that like I work in. But I think it honestly, I think it is a roll of the dice. I remember growing up, I want to be a baker. I'm not a baker. Like my own bakery. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that, um, your circumstances, again,
yeah.
have a lot to do with, what happens. Like, I was a young child in the '70s, girl, and I was taught from a very young age that my vision should be getting married. Like, that's the
Having
vision.
children,
Right, having
cooking.
children, having a home, having a husband, having, that was
Yeah.
the dream that was sold to me, and so it got very confusing because then I was a teenager in the '80s, and in the '80s is when, women's sort of started hitting the, working and careers, and That really blew up then, but it was very confusing at the time because I had my parents from a different era saying, "You should be looking for a husband," and thinking about children, and yet on the other side, I was getting, "You should be looking at a career and doing all that." So, I think your circumstances, and so that's a nice little thing for, parents to think about when their children are growing up, is seriously, your kids are like blank slates.
Yeah.
You imprint like your fears, your dreams, your everything on them. Try and make sure you're saying to them, you can do whatever you want, especially coming from Canada. Now,
Yeah.
some places that's not the case, and I feel bad about that. I really do. I think that we live in a world where they pay football players, enough money to feed a small country
Yeah,
with a
it's
star.
insane.
I can't, and we're
Yeah.
all a part of that. So that's hard to but I think that's another show.
Yeah, that's
That's another
another topic.
podcast.
Well, I did s people do every weekend I see, like, a protest or something of someone throwing tomato sauce on paintings and stuff because paintings, like, really good ones sell for millions and
Mhm,
millions of
mhm,
dollars,
mhm.
and it's a painting.
Yeah,
Like, let me get
yes.
out my
Yeah,
kindergarten art because some of it
yeah.
looks like it, like
Yeah, I remember going to Australia, and I'm not much of an art buff. I would have liked to have been, but again, my circumstances didn't give me that background at all. There was none of that. And so I went to Australia for a year when I was supposed to go to college. And while I was there, I went to a museum and there was a painting on display. And at that time, that would have been 30 years ago, for $8 million, and it was a yellow background with an orange circle in the center of it. I was like, "Is this all it takes?
Grandma,
Seriously? Because
listen.
I could do that. I could do that."
Well, that wasn't your destiny, sweetie, so
Apparently not. Apparently not. I didn't get
I
it
know.
then, I still don't get it. I don't.
I don't get it either, but maybe it's not for us to get.
Right, and, that artist, I guess that was their destiny.
Well
$8 million paycheck for an orange circle.
well, are they alive or are they dead? Because
I don't
usually
know.
it's worth more when they are dead, which
No,
is
I
kinda
think he was
crazy to me.
alive. I think they
Oh,
bought it for $8 million.
damn, lucky duck.
Yeah. I don't get it.
Um, Me either,
Mm-mm.
but anyway, what do you think your destiny is? What do you see yourself in the future?
I think I
Oh,
do we
yeah,
get
you're there.
do we get more?
Well, you still got, like, 30, 40
No,
years.
that's not true. My destiny now is, I'm hoping to be a grandmother again.
Yeah.
Uh,
Okay, good job.
yes.
Dodged a bullet.
And, well, I really, um when my first husband died early, young, my whole thing was to own my own house, to have and own it, like own it outright, no
Mm,
mortgage. And I have done that, and I am very proud of that, along with my husband now. But I'm very proud that we own our own house. We don't owe any money for it. We actually have acreage,
yeah,
and
yeah,
that is something to be proud of and a destiny that I wanted to attain, and I did. In my career, I just did what I had to do. But it was weird because every time, how you take those career tests online to see what you'd be good
yeah.
at?
Oh, yeah.
The job I'm doing came up every single time.
Really?
Yeah, which I was like, "Okay, I guess I'm doing the job I'm supposed to be." Yeah, yeah, that's weird, eh?
Yeah, I'm trying to think back to what mine said. I don't think I'm doing what it said, to be honest. I just remember my guidance counselor telling me, because I'm more of a visual learner,
Mhm,
and she told me that maybe I should think about colleges. And I said, "No, my goal was to go to university. I took university level courses to go to university. I'm going
Right,
to university."
right.
And bitch, I went to university. But, she like, don't plant seeds in my head that I don't want.
Yeah, yeah, my, one a person told a person I know years and years ago in public school that they would never amount to anything. One of the principals of the school told his
Huh.
mother this, that he would never amount to anything, and to get him out and get him into a factory as quick as she could. It turned out this person is quite smart, really smart, and managed to go to college and then on to do university courses and is quite successful in their life. So I think teachers need to be very careful too.
I remember an English teacher told me I shouldn't write because I was bad at writing. This is what I do for a living. I write communications, I spell check other people's work.
Mhm.
This is what I
Mhm.
do. So now it's like a big fuck you actually. Um
Well, I think teachers do have a lot of influence over,
Yeah.
kids, and I don't know nowadays, like, I think schools are getting fuller and fuller, so it's harder and harder for that one-on-one, but when I was in public school, remember that would be a one-room schoolhouse, right, Damon? With a
With
s
with when they were still able to beat
let me just
you.
do it for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. When the horse and buggy had to pull you there,
Yeah,
and yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I
and there was a
remember.
wood stove.
And there was a well instead of a water fountain.
Yeah, we had to go out and hand pump.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. No,
well,
actually, we didn't. It was close, but we
you're
didn't.
right, you had to go to the river.
But when I was young, yeah. When I was young, I remember that many teachers were very influential in my
Yeah.
life. Like, I was just saying to my husband, I actually a song came on the radio, and he had never heard it before, and we, in grade 1, sang that song at a music festival and brought down the house with this song. And I tried to sing it to him, and I've never heard of it before. And then it came back on the radio again, and I grabbed him, and he said, I have never heard that song before. But it was so interesting that I remember that with such joy, because that teacher took so much time with us, and I think that's lovely
Yeah.
memories. Another thing though, I always wanted to be a veterinarian, but I mean, that was not encouraged at all. Like a girl, it was like, "What?"
Yeah, they're not
Uh,
good. No.
yeah, it's like, no. So then I thought, well, I'll be a veterinary, not an assistant, but a technician. And that was when I was trying to, but they had just opened up that program, and I was on the waiting list for a couple of years, and then I just went, "Ugh, I worked at a veterinarian's anyway, and the vet there, he kept saying, "Why? Why do you even wanna go to school? It doesn't matter, like, you already work here. You're making what they
Yeah.
would make anyway." So but now I look back and I think I'm so glad I didn't, because I wouldn't be working there anymore. I got burnt out,
Mhm.
by all the euthanasias and dogs and, like, just
Oh, yeah, I'd hate
saving
that.
lives, and I mean, it was a lot. I was running a kennel out of my house. I had cats, I had dogs, I had shit and piss everywhere in my everywhere, and I'm just I finally had to just stop, and so today that college degree, although I think any college degree in anything is good and helpful, I wouldn't have been doing that anymore. I would have been doing probably what I'm doing.
Well, a lot of people switch careers. I read this
Yes.
somewhere where it's just like you after I think 14, 12 or 14 years it was or something, then it's like
Mhm.
people start to look for different outlets of what they
Mhm.
could do. And I think back and I'm like, feel like I should have got my real estate license. Like I feel like I'd be really good at selling houses, but I actually love what I'm doing now. So I don't
Well, and maybe that
regret
will
it.
be your career change.
Yeah, maybe that'll be
That
my
may
career
come
change.
in the future. But I
Yeah.
never say, and I've heard people say, "Well, what's good as a college degree if you're not in that job forever?"
Yeah.
Well, a college degree shows employers it doesn't necessarily have to be even within the realm of that employment, but what it
Yeah.
does do, or a university degree, is shows that you can commit yourself to something and see it through. Whereas, if you don't have any background or any education, and you can also manage and graduate, an education course that's beyond high school. So it shows a bunch of different things on a resume, even if you go for something different years down the
Yeah.
road. Um, and you may have to upgrade or take, like, if you went for real estate, you have to get a license, you
Yeah.
have to take a course. But um, again, destiny wise, I think we all do, unless you're doing something you absolutely love, like
Yeah.
painting that $8 million picture of the circle in the yellow, the orange circle. That person probably is really in love with what they do.
Okay, but we have to think. Now, how many previous paintings did he paint of circles? And it was this one that took off, you know?
It makes zero sense.
He lived on the streets for
Yeah,
years and years
probably.
and years.
Probably those
And
homeless people.
now,
One of them people are gonna come up with the triangle on a yellow background.
oh my god, I just looked at myself in the camera right
Yeah.
here. I had my first hickey this weekend. It was destiny. It's faded away like pretty much now. But
Wow.
I literally 6 seconds, 6 seconds, I thought he was kissing me on the neck. Vampire bite. Oh my god, I'll have to send you the picture. It was terrible. I'm like 6 seconds because I was like, "What are you doing?" Like that was a little too long, right? And
You'll have
yeah,
to get some makeup. Oh, you don't have to go into work anyway, do you?
I had to go into work today.
Oh. Oh. Did you wear a
Luckily, I'm
collar?
walked like this in, and then I'm sitting at the desk, and like the door's on this side. I'm like, "Thank God," you know.
We used to tell our parents that it was from the curling iron. So but you don't have the hair. We used to say that the curling iron fell or we hit our neck, when we were, and
Right.
that's what they were seeing because it looked like a little burn.
Actually, I tried on clothes yesterday at a store. I was buying some clothes, and they had this big ink tag that's a circle. And I went to put it on, and it hit like throat chopped me. And I was
Oh,
just like, I could say it was from that.
yeah. Yeah, it's just like a superficial injury of your neck. We used
Yeah,
to give each other when I was young in public school, we would give each other hickeys, like our friends. Yeah, yeah, and then we go home and
one
try and explain that, and we weren't even doing it, like, in a, kind of
sexual way.
sexual way. We were just doing it because we had nothing to do because we lived in Warminster, and there's nothing else to do. So we would do that to each other, but then you'd get in so much trouble when you'd go I don't know why we would do that.
Do you think destiny had anything to do with that?
No. No,
Okay,
that was child's play.
that
But
was
I do believe okay, back to that. I do believe you create your surroundings and you
yeah.
create, like if I was, say, more outgoing and was disappointed because, I'm just not having that social aspect of my life, whose fault is that? Mine. So and vice versa, if you're going out too much and you're not getting your work done or you're getting fired or,
Yeah.
you know, like whose fault is that? It always comes back to you have to have some responsibility. And when you have that responsibility, destiny follows.
Sometimes I forget I'm an adult, and I could literally pick up my stuff and move to like Germany or something, like what
Sure.
I mean? I can just go. I could grab my passport one day, go to the airport and be like, "Oh, there's, an open seat for a flight."
Yeah.
And it's like you can, but I just keep forgetting that this is,
You could
that's
go down to the
possible.
grocery store, the corner grocery store, buy an entire chocolate cake and eat it.
Okay, I've done that multiple times during COVID, and that's how you look like this, so I wouldn't recommend. But actually, I'd go
No,
buy the
that's true.
box
And
chocolate cake.
we box ourselves in quite a bit, I think. Like I think like when and it's interesting when you look at someone else, like you can see the potential, but you can't see it in yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it would be so
Mm.
nice if we were built in a way that we could see our own potential. But yeah, like for me, I look at you and I often think, man, oh man, you should be a politician. You should like you got to be out there. You should be talking. You snap back. You're so good at it. Yet I don't think you get that, and it's too bad that you can't see that because I think you could reach the well. I wanted to say White House, but um, you can't
Black
do that.
House. No, I'm just kidding.
No, whatever it is in the Ottawa
Yeah,
Parliament
the
House.
parliament.
That's not even that big of a goal, really.
Anyone can. Have you seen
Yeah.
Doug Ford? Well, Doug Ford's city of Toronto kind of thing,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
not the premier of Ontario. That's what he is.
Ontario. Yeah, he still
Sorry.
spent some time in the Parliament Houses.
I don't think it's that hard to get there. You just gotta tell a shit ton of lies and dress in a suit
Well,
and say
but
women
again,
don't have rights.
well, one side anyway
Yeah,
has to
one
say
side.
that.
Yeah.
But I think every person that is in the Parliament House, and I will say all sides,
Hmm.
have had a vision and have had a destiny in mind. And destiny is destination, right?
Yep.
So they have envisioned or come up and they have enough confidence. That's the other thing. If you don't have the confidence, some of those things you're not going to attain because you'll just be eaten alive, number one. Can you imagine standing up in parliament and arguing with, the opposition for hours over something
Well, that's why I don't want to be a
without
politician.
losing it and
That's
swearing?
the thing. I would lose my shit. That's why I can't be a politician. Plus, I've talked too much about my sex life already, my
Right.
hemorrhoids. No one in
Mhm.
politics needs to, you know,
Oh, yeah,
on the floor.
they'd be digging all
Yeah.
this up.
Oh yeah. Did you know Damon Bell had hemorrhoids last year? Oh yeah. Big ones. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
I'd
Yeah,
be
they
like, you got me,
definitely
gal.
yeah, you got me. I'm
You got
gay?
me.
Oh, you got me.
Oh, I've sucked several dicks in a men's washroom. You got me.
Yeah, yeah,
And that was
exactly.
just today, you know?
But there's also I was just watching a, documentary on, Hernandez? I can't remember the last name. He was a football player, and he wound up murdering a person, um, and was convicted, and then it turned out he had also murdered 2 other people, and they found that out during figuring that out, and this guy was on the rise. He was, playing for a huge US football, and his whole life he had been trained by his father. His father was like military like and was playing he played not professional but just below that. I forget what they call it, but
Yeah, yeah.
football. So he was
Like,
raising his
yeah.
two yeah, like a farm team type football.
Yeah, yeah,
Anyway,
yeah.
he was raising his 2 sons and they were destined, and the one guy Hernandez, I think his name was. Anyway, he was wonderful. He was just fabulous. But guess what? He was a closeted gay person. And in that came such he had such rage and unable to ever because once even though his father died who would have never accepted it, he was in a career that there was no way he could ever come out and say I'm gay
Yeah.
and it be acceptable. He would have been run out of town. And so they were saying that with about 60 concussions, that his rage led him to murder. And so his destiny, although it was supposed to be greatness, was roadblocked by being suppressed.
I think what do they say? There's like life is just a bunch of like obstacles thrown in your way or like hurdles and you're just jumping over them.
Yes,
Like,
that's true.
you know, destiny is not a straight line. I feel like just destiny. Do we just say that to make us feel better about ourselves? Like, if it's meant to happen, it's gonna happen. Like, seriously.
No, because I think like, you can like, some people have a tragic event happen,
Yeah,
and like that fellow I was just talking about, apparently he was molested as a child too, and that all rolled up into it all, and he used that in a sense as an excuse. Now, I'm pretty sure that there are gay football players, and I'm pretty sure that there are gay football players that were molested that aren't out there murdering people, right?
yeah,
So what's going on there? There's a little more to it than that. But I think some people get hit by a tragedy or are born into a circumstance and they just can't see their way out of it, right?
yeah.
And
No,
so
yeah,
it takes, like, everybody's circumstance is different. And if you think about it, for instance, also you'll see like families where, you know, they're on welfare,
mhm,
and then they have children, and those children grow up to be on welfare, and they have children and those children. And then but one of them all of a sudden will get out, and they'll become a doctor or a lawyer or something like that. It just is that, again, what I call chutzpah, like that something inside of you that
oh,
just forces you to change things. And that's the same for, like you said, jump on an airplane.
yeah.
It takes a lot to do that, to leave your family, to jump on an airplane by yourself, because nobody's going, well, unless you have a spouse, but if you're doing it on your own, you're not, nobody's going with you, and just doing that, right?
Ye
It takes a
s
lot.
So, the one of the biggest things for me, and it now looking back, it wasn't that big of a deal, but to me, it was in that moment, was when I originally went to school for business. I did it for a year, and I was thinking about switching. I didn't like the classes I was taking, I was miserable, and I made the switch to media and communication studies, which meant adding a year back
Right.
onto,
Mhm.
and I was like, I either have to commit now or, switch or whatever, right? So to me, that was the biggest thing. That was my jumping on an airplane experience. I was so worried and nervous for the future, but as
Mhm.
soon as I did it, I knew it was the right choice for me. I started to really enjoy my classes, what I was learning. I thrived, like
Mhm.
4.0 GPA, honors, everything. So
Right.
yeah,
So you made the right decision. And had you not have, like, people need to understand that you can make a wrong decision.
yeah,
You can do that and come back from it. Like, it's not like just because you made that wrong decision, you're just on this path to wrong decisionness. One time I invested with some people. I was gonna open a dog kennel type thing, grooming salon, dog kennel, and the people were just taking me along for this ride. Like, it was just ridiculous, and it was the wrong decision. I put a lot of time into it, and then it turned out they're like, oh, it's just ridiculous. Anyway, it was the wrong decision, and I made that wrong decision, but I didn't sit there and stew about it and go, "Oh my god, what am I gonna do with my life?" Just move on. Keep going, keep going. Recoup what you can and keep going.
now I have a question.
Mhm.
Where are the bodies? I'm just kidding.
That was close. Well, there was a little money that went into it too, and I did get it back, but if I hadn't
Oh,
of,
good.
that might
Right?
have,
Well, I
that
was thinking, I was like, "Oh, grandma didn't get her money back, and to move on, she had to have a clean slate." Yeah.
well, that might have been. It might have been, but no, they were smart enough. They must have saw that. They saw that in me. But anyway, you can make all kinds, even if you make bad decisions or get into bad situations, you can change your life too. You
Yeah,
can. It may take a little bit of, again, intestinal fortitude or oof, I got to do this. But if you do it and you change your environment and you change everything about it, like, you can move on and have a very successful life. Doors open.
and I also believe that bad choices that you've made doesn't mean you're a bad person. Just
No.
like good choices that you make doesn't mean you're a good person,
Right.
So there's always like time to, well, it depends, but usually there's always times to change and like turn your life around. Some other cases, not so much. Like if you've murdered people, I think it's a little too late. However,
Yeah.
if
Yeah,
you've
I don't know
stolen,
about that.
yeah, however, if you've stolen like a chocolate bar from a convenience store,
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm sure you can turn your life around still.
Yes. There you make your own destiny, and I think you
Yeah,
make your own decisions. If you surround yourself again with people that are successful or in a line with you, it doesn't mean, they have to be absolute, your every view has to be the same, but they have to be morally the same as you. I think that's important. Like if you have
yeah,
morals that say, I need to go to work every day, and then you hang around with people that don't need to go to work or don't want to, or then you're just setting yourself up for failure.
so I've had people in my life before say, "I'm miserable at work. I don't like doing this." And my first question is like, "Then why are you doing it? Like you can change yourself. Continue your job, but look for other opportunities to get out of
Yeah,
there
yeah, and
because you're just going to be stuck."
yeah, and things nowadays it's so much easier now because of like college online, university
Yeah.
online. It used to be difficult if you were in a position where you were working full time because you had to, and you have to support your life, and
Yeah.
then you want to move on. But now, like I did it where I worked all day, 40 hours a week, and then did a complete college course for 2 years to do what I'm doing now. So it is possible. It's a lot of work. It was
Yeah.
very difficult. And at one point, I believe when your great grandmother was passed away, I was right near the end, but not quite. And I thought, oh my God, I just can't. I can't do this.
Yeah.
We're running back and forth and whatever, but get through it, push through, and I really have reaped a lot of reward, whether I like it or I don't like it, from this position that I have now,
Well, good job, girl.
monetarily.
That's how you can afford your moo and your hair.
But my hair and my makeup, moo. Oh, I love this one. I just love it. Mhm.
See, it was destiny.
It was. This one was Destiny. I have a few more. I have one that's pure white that I wore to a white party when we were in Mexico, and then nobody took a picture of it. Nobody. I know.
Well, it's
Can
the
you
world's
feel
loss. It's
the
the world's
underlying
loss.
rage I have?
Well, did you throw, like, wine in someone's face? Because I would've.
I should have.
I
Everybody
would've
was
went,
in white.
yeah,
I should
exactly.
have taken a big fit.
I would've went full housewives mode and been like, "What the fuck?" And then just go crazy.
I should have. Well, you know what? I think destiny-wise, you can even do that. You can become a movie star, you can become a singer, you can become, well, if you're good.
Well, some people. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you have to be lucky enough to be born with a good voice if you're going to sing. Lucky enough to be born with the ability to be someone else if you're going to act,
Yeah,
right? Or play a musical instrument. But all of those things everybody should try. Because what if you
yeah.
are a prodigy and you don't even know it?
Well, that's why you kinda gotta go to school because they explore some of those talents like athletics, arts,
Right.
music, math. Oh, they kinda got all the subjects in there.
Mhm. Mhm.
You know what? School
Yeah.
makes a lot of sense now.
Yeah, when you were in it, you're like, "Why? Why?"
But real yeah, exactly. My mentality is like, "Why do I need to learn this?" But really, they should teach kids the mentality of, we're trying to find out what you're good at and what you wanna
Mhm.
excel at because this is what
Mhm.
you're gonna be doing, for the rest of your life, and it should make you
Well, and
happy.
I truly believe, and I wish they would do it, is change the model of schooling to do just that. Is
Yeah,
find out what a child is really good at. Like, why force a kid that like, I can't add any I used to be not bad at math. Like, I passed, the general math in the 80s and 90s, but when it came to advanced or anything, I mm-mm. No, couldn't do it.
right?
And now, since I've left school for all these years, and my job does not require any math whatsoever, so the only thing I have to do is pay my bills, which is not fairly simple.
Yeah.
I can't multiply like 3 times 4 anymore. I just don't even know. Like, somebody will
Oh,
say,
yeah.
what is 1 plus 8?" And I'm like, "I don't know." Like, I'm not even
What
gonna give that any brain.
you just give up before.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just like, "Yeah, don't ask me because
Yeah, don't
I
ask
just won't
me.
know."
I just
So
look pretty.
but
I
I
don't.
was yeah. And I wasn't good at it. I didn't like it anyway, and but
Yeah.
what I really loved was reading, writing, all that sort of stuff. So I wish that I would have just been sort of who cares about math? Who cares about the little protractor thing and the what is all
Ankle.
that about? What is that about? I don't even know.
I feel like basic math, everyone should learn, but then I
Right,
think
like
the
grade
higher
1,
up
2, 3,
stuff,
4, 5, or whatever, and or till
I
grade
would
8.
I would
Yeah,
say till grade 8, but then in
yeah.
high school, like, I really
Forget
did
it.
like, I know in public school we've started to find, like, the area of a triangle and stuff, but I really
What
don't need to
is
know that.
that?
I
What
like,
is it? I don't
I
even
don't
know why you would do it.
I don't need to know how big the shadow of the Great Pyramids of Egypt are at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. So I don't understand. I
Is
don't
that
know how many.
why
Yeah,
they
I don't
made
know
us do that? I don't even
exactly.
know.
I don't know how many apples Miss Tammy Brown needs to buy at the farmer's market if there's only 37 available and there's 28 on back order. Like, I don't need to know, you know? It's not my business,
No.
actually. It's Tammy Brown's business.
Exactly, I don't and how fast are like, is the train going if you're going like,
Oh my
what?
god, those questions? Oh, the test we had standardized testing, I think, every 3 years, grade 3, grade 6, grade 9, grade 12.
Ugh,
Holy fucking shit. Let me tell you, those questions, those questions, I just
yeah,
guessed. And then that doesn't say how smart our schools are and stuff if people are guessing, and you know what I mean? No one
yeah.
knows these questions. No
I
one
know,
knows.
who does know that? Like,
I don't
I didn't,
those
and I
bed
didn't
mass
yeah, I didn't
questions,
care. I didn't
those b
care either.
oh, you know those equations where it's like 3 bracket 2 to the power of
Ugh.
10 plus da 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 da, and you have to do all these steps to find the answer? Who gives a flying fuck? Because I don't. Let me tell you that. I'd rather be in the art room painting and gossiping.
Yes,
That was my life.
or I woulda loved if somebody would've sat me down instead of me having to learn it by here's how I learned like, where your apostrophe goes and where your
Yeah.
I learned that myself by reading books and paying attention to where all that was, because I never learned that. I used to write in one solid sentence and paragraph, and then I finally, got old enough and went, "I gotta stop doing this." So I was like, "Well, I'll read a book and, like, see how that goes." I woulda loved it if somebody would've taken me and done that every day, I woulda loved that.
Grandma,
Loved it.
me and you are like the same person because let me tell you,
Mhm.
I was guessing, I think up until grade 12.
Yeah.
And then when I got to university, we went over the basics. I'm like, what are the basics? I still have to Google what a noun and verb are
Yes.
because I
Yes.
don't know. But like literally, it's only because of reading stuff that I know
Mhm.
where punctuation's supposed to go. I now know the
Right.
rules because I made myself relearn the rules, and I like Google, okay, what are the rules
And
for
not only
commas?
did I learn them, but I enjoy that, and so I
Yeah,
don't like, my point of it all was, why not take that kid that does enjoy that and
yeah,
let them run with it all the way through even high school. Just English, English, English classes. I woulda loved that. Never and I love geography, there's another thing, loved it, but I did not like chemistry.
me
I
either.
hate it, but I love science, I love
No.
biology. So why do you have to throw in this chemistry? I hated it. It makes no
Yes,
sense to me. It's not
yeah.
biology. Don't like it. I
Yeah,
love dissecting the pig. I was
that's
good.
weird. Okay. I love gym class, but I had to take sciences and math and whatever. But I was just like, I loved playing sports. I'm a very competitive person. I love playing sports. It was like so gym class, art, and I love taking finance courses because I know I'm gonna be rich. So like taking the finance courses, those were great. I love those. And oh my god, cooking class. Not only because I love to eat, but it's
Oh,
because I
yeah,
like
I
to
took
bake
that all the way
stuff.
through too, yeah.
Like, remember how I said I want to be a baker when I grew up? I want to own my own bakery. Well, maybe if they had a private chef come in once or twice a week in public school, I would have
Mhm.
pursued my dreams.
But that's why I'm saying destiny-wise, I think children can be helped out quite a bit
Yeah.
if they would streamline these kids into things that they're really good at. Maybe they don't even recognize that they're really good at it. Whereas if you're a teacher, you
Wow.
can see, "Oh my god, this kid has potential storytelling, writing, maybe has a really good imagination, art."
Yeah.
A kid may not realize that they're really good at it, and if they're only taking a class every other day or something, they may just drop it at high school and go, I'm no good at it."
Right?
You know?
And that's where also extracurricular activities goes in because you don't really dance at school, right? You gotta take dance after school, karate,
Oh, we did.
gymnastics.
Oh my god. Okay, do you wanna hear the most awful thing? In grade
Yeah.
9, this is why I never ever took gym class again. Well, also I hated gym class, but they made our gym teacher, so it was all girls, right? Girls gym. Back I don't know, do they mix it up now? You
In in grade 9, it was separate, and then I
Okay,
think
yeah.
when you get to grade 11, then it was co-ed. Grade 11
Oh,
and
okay.
12 was co-ed.
Anyway, ours
Mm.
was separate, like girls and guys. So but she made us dance to not only dance, so we had to dance with another girl to Neil Diamond.
Who doesn't love Neil Diamond?
Well, I do love Neil Diamond, but I don't wanna dance with another girl when I hear it at all. And it was like
Lesbian.
yeah, it was I just about said it. It was gay,
That was
and
gay.
it was square dancing or some kind of weird
Oh, that's funny.
dancing. It was so weird.
You
Yeah,
know
so
what?
I was like, "Gym? No, no more gym. No."
We did dance in public school now that I'm remembering, but it wasn't as embarrassing because what we did was we had,
Well, little
you know
kids, that's alright.
well, no, we had We Dance, and then we put it on a projector on the gymnasium, so,
Oh, okay.
that was, like, the thing, like, if you had a Wii and you had Just Dance,
Oh,
that
okay.
was
Okay,
oh,
I
it was
get it.
fun, we got but then also in a different class, we got into different groups, and we all had to pick a Michael Jackson song for some reason and dance to Michael Jackson.
Who's
Yeah,
a
we had
pedophile? Like, I don't even get why he's even acclaimed anymore. I just don't get it. I
well, we had
don't.
to do Thriller, so
Oh, okay.
Thriller,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
then,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
learn the yeah,
I never
so
liked him when he was alive.
but yeah, so we had to
Anyway,
and that was my destiny was to dance.
today it still is, David. Go dance. Thriller. Anyway, well, I say you make your own destiny for the most part. Maybe a little bit of luck, a little bit of crystals, and what's your other
Oh,
thing you do?
we didn't even talk about crystals and tarot cards, motherfucker. Alright, next episode.
We might have to do okay. Why don't we
Okay,
do part two, and we'll
okay.
we'll talk about how and if they have any influence on our destiny and our future. We can
Love
do
it,
that next
okay,
time.
let's wrap it
Okay.
up. Okay,
Okay.
have a great day, everyone, and enjoy your destiny.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.